Welcome to our fourth installment of our Leadership Academy, where you are learning how to be equipped on how to lead faithfully, understanding your expectations as a leader within our church. Now, when it comes to leading, one of the things that leaders do is make decisions. All right. A leader is forced to make decisions and that matter because, hey, you're impacting many, many people. And so we all make decisions all the time. And so we want to make sure that you are equipped to make healthy, wise, faithful decisions because as a leader, your decisions have a big impact within the church and those who follow you. So this is a tool that we have developed called the Lead Loop. LEAD, the lead loop. And it is a tool that can be used for decision making. And so the first step in this, it's to listen. So if you want to be able to make wise decisions, first off, you got to listen and you got to ask the question, just what's going on here? All right. The act of listening is really developing the skill to think first and not think fast. When you think fast and you can easily make a mistake if you don't have enough information. And so this is a skill of learning to think first, not think fast. And to truly listen requires 360-degree listening. All right, you got to listen all around. What does God have to say about whatever, we want to make a decision about something. Well, what does God have to say? What does his word have to say? Well, what are others have to say? What do I have to say? What do I feel? Like what's going on? What do I know? Are there resources that can speak into this situation that we need to make a decision on? And so the goal of this listening format, this is an important one because you want to gather as much information as possible. And there's a green color to it because you want to do this without judging. You must learn to suspend judgment because if you are trying to be judgmental while you're listening, you're going to edit things and you're going to reject probably things that could have been the solution that you needed, but because you're too quick to judge, too quick to assume. So listening requires a no judgment zone. All right. Just truly learning to listen humbly. All right. Now, after listening, you move to E, examine. Examine is a part where now you're asking the question, well, what do we want? There's a lot of self-examination here. You got to ask questions like, have we been asking the right questions? All right. Now that you've listened, if you're not getting enough information or if you're not getting anything that feels like can address it, then maybe you got to start back at the beginning and like saying, we need to go back and listen more or we need to start over. All right, where we're asking the wrong question, that's why we're not getting the results or not getting the answers that we're thinking. Are we missing something here? Do we want this for the right reason? See, this is a lot of good personal examination here because are we listening to the right voices? Are there enough voices here? This is important because without this again, you can miss out on the most important thing that can help you make a wise decision. And so there's a lot of self-examination at this point, at this moment. Not so much examining what has been said, all right? But again, if you need to make a decision about something as a team, personally, whatever, why are you even processing this? That's an important thing as well. And then the goal of this moment is this. It's here that you want to define success in a way that will help to reinforce the church's mission, vision, and values and the culture. Because at this point on, you got to ask, look, if this decision that we want to make, if this task or this idea or this project, if it is distracting, if it is not connected to the mission, vision, values, then we stop right here. The decision is easy. We don't do it. If it's going to conflict or do anything else that's going to compete with helping us to be efficient in what we're called to do, then no, we don't do it. And this is important because this part helps to save a lot of energy, save a lot of resources instead of figuring out in the back end, oh man, I don't know why we did that. It didn't produce the right result. And so there's now this notice that the color yellow, now you're starting to slow down. All right. You're starting to slow down and you're starting to begin the process of critical thinking, which is really now you're in the red zone. All right. Which is assess. This is now you're asking the question after you've gathered, okay, what's going on? What do we need? You're examining why do we need it? What's, all of these things. What do we really want to do? What do we want to accomplish? Now you can ask the question, what can we do? Now, what can we do? If you've checked off all those boxes and you feel like you need to move forward, now critical thinking begins. All right. So you think critically about each possible solution and its potential impact. If we do this, what might that cause? If we do this, what might that cause? And so you never know. Is this decision, if we decide to do this, is it going to affect anybody? Is it going to affect others within our team? Is it going to affect other teams? All right. That's an important thing, because the goal of assess is to identify the best possible solution, as well as identify necessary resources and processes to increase the likelihood of achieving a desired result. All right. So this is important, because once now, okay, we got it. Well, what can we do? All right. What do we have? Is there anything we need to get in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish? And notice I said best possible solution. All right. It's never going to be perfect. Ideally, it would be great to be perfect, but we want to find and at least settle on what is the best possible solution. Because here's why. Now we're back to green, and green means go, right? Decide. So this is the LEAD, this final part of the loop on the lead loop. And now we're going to decide, what are we going to do? And this could include who's going to do it. All right. So the process is, at this moment, you take action, you make a decision and follow through. Now notice that it's a lead loop because the process is looped to consider necessary adjustments throughout ongoing evaluation. Again, notice that even when I was talking, sometimes when you listen, examine, and assess, you have to decide, like, you know what? We need to go back and we're not asking the right questions. So we got to start back and listen. Or maybe we need to make a decision on, you know what? I don't think we've assessed all the possible solutions. Let's go back. And so it's a loop, because this is an ongoing process that happens. There are 4 individual skills that you need to learn to develop individually. But once you apply them, now they can really operate in one thing. And it's a wheel, because you want to be able to navigate the tough and, turbulent waters of decision making. It's not easy. There's so many factors that are just like being out in the boat in the ocean, right? So many factors coming against you that can distract you. And so you want to make sure your hands are on the wheels, so you are moving in the right direction. So the goal really of this decision part is to go through the exercise of thinking to improve the necessary skills for making wise decisions. And so having this loop does help you do that. And part of the decision is, like I said, okay, here's what we're going to do it. But also the decision implies who's going to do it, and who's going to evaluate. Could be ongoing. So let's say, as a church, we had a project, right? We were doing this, we accomplished that, or we're going to start a new initiative. Well, the same lead loop that you use to make a decision can be used to evaluate every decision. Because the reality is this: leaders are learners. All right. A true leader is always learning. And so this is an evaluation tool that we can use to evaluate decisions that we've made. We can use this to evaluate our ministries as a whole, evaluate our own leadership effectiveness, by asking these questions. All right. All right. What happened? Okay. What is successful? What could have been done? And what do we do now? That's in reverse. So the listen is what happened. So now we made a decision. Let's say we had a conference. All right. We had a 1-day conference. All right. It's over. Let's evaluate it. Okay. What happened? Well, here's what we did. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. We're listening. Now examine, well, was it successful? Did we achieve the goal that we felt needed to be achieved, that we had predetermined already? Did it fulfill the mission, vision, value in one way or another? And how did it do that? Now read, what can we learn from how we did and what happened? Okay. What could we have done better? All right. What could we have done better? How can we do this better next time? And then the decision, okay, no, now what do we do? All right. Well, hey, let's write this down. And the next time we're going to do a planning meeting, we're going to revisit these notes and we're going to apply what we did. Or, hey, maybe we need to make this adjustment. Or, hey, what do we do now? Listen, maybe we don't do that again. I don't know. Or maybe we need to prune or remove this ministry, remove this project, remove this, whatever. But the idea is that it's that leaders are learners. We don't want to just go and do things. And the win is not the fact that we did it. No, was it effective? Leaders are constant learners, and they evaluate themselves in that way. So this is one way in which you can, again, follow the leader, follow Christ in this way. Are you listening to him? Are you allowing him to examine your own heart? Are you assessing scriptures and what is being said to it? And how are you making decisions? How do you make decisions? How do you evaluate yourself? Or do you evaluate your own walk with God, your own effectiveness? This is important. All right. This is important because, again, we want to follow the leader. And how do we follow the leader faithfully? All right. By learning how to do these things, learning to listen well, examine ourselves well, our motives well, assess, learning how to think critically in a wise way, not be critical, all right, and learning to make decisions wisely because we want those whom we lead to be affected positively, not negatively.